I'm having a flashback to that Jim Rohn quote, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I've managed to get some mentors over the year doing this program. And one of my famous ones is this $1 trillion man. And there's an episode where we're here in the studio and he's screaming at the top of his lungs at me. And he's saying, he's pointing at the cameras in here, Anthony. And he said, these people think you're a big deal. He's pointing at all the London realtors. He's like, I know you're not. He said, I see you 1,000 times more. And he's so angry, he's spitting at me. And I always show that to like people in my academies. And I'm like, you know, do you want someone like that who is angry at you because you're not so much more? Or do you want to hang out with the friends that want you to have another drink or watch Netflix for 6 more hours? And they all say, yeah, I want the mentor. And I'm like, yeah, you want the mentor, but also it's super uncomfortable being around people like that too, because that's how you're going to get to the next level. And they're going to be pushing you and challenging you all the time. And that's something that I felt a lot. So that really resonated with me. Another one you said in here is that exercise is mental training masquerading as physical training. That's pretty deep, pretty heavy. What did you mean?
Most people work out, and when they're working out, they think they're doing it for the physical reasons. But I was talking to a friend a couple years ago, and he said to me, do you meditate? And I said, no, I don't meditate. And he said, that's weird. Like, how do you, you got a lot of stuff going on. You spend all day in meetings and calls and meeting all this stuff, whatever, like it's very mentally complex. Like, how do you do this? And I started thinking about it. And I said, well, you know what? I work out every morning. It's the only time where no one bothers me. Whether I'm listening to a podcast, music, no music, whatever, right? I run every day. I don't run very far. I don't run very fast. That's my meditation. Right? I'm moving, I'm sweating, I'm clearing my mind. And so from one standpoint, there's a meditative component to exercising, right? It's physiologically better to move and sweat and get your heart rate going and blood pumping and all that kind of stuff. And so it helps your mental acuity. It helps you kind of figure out problems, right? I talk in the book about there's research that shows if you go outside and you walking forward outside is actually proven to help your brain make connections it otherwise wouldn't make. And therefore, because of the blood pumping and those connections, et cetera, you get ideas you wouldn't get sitting inside at a desk. But then also there's a mental toughness standpoint. If you go and you do hard workouts, you don't have to do it every day, but maybe once a week or twice a week, you're training your mental toughness, your resilience, your ability to survive in some sort of physical pain that makes you better at work or in a relationship. It teaches you different things about yourself. And so this idea that physical exercise is good for you physically, obviously, but actually most exercise, if viewed correctly, is psychological training to make you better throughout the day. And so once you start to realize that, I think it's better for people because they say to themselves, I'm not going to work out this morning because of the physical benefits. I'm going to work out because it's the only way that I can address the mental benefits. And then there is motivation for you to actually go work out every single day and keep some sort of routine and, kind of fulfill your physical goals, but you're doing it because you understand that there's this mental component. And then the last thing that I've started to tell young people is if you want to be a great investor, if you want to be a great entrepreneur, one of the biggest inputs is time in the market, time building your company or time with a portfolio. The reason why Warren Buffett is so rich is because he's literally 90 years old. He's just been compounding for, I think it's like 78 years or 80 years. That helps a lot, right? When compounding's working for you for 80 years. A lot of people don't make it to 80, let alone 92, 93, whatever he is. And so if you want to have a great portfolio at the end of your life, one of the best inputs you can have is make sure you make it there. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure you have longevity. You do that when you're younger. There's not really an emergency, button that you press when you're 65, 70 years old and you got heart problems. That's going to be the, silver bullet solution. It is the compounding of your health habits. And so there's a argument that working out is actually good for your health, but it's also good for your investment portfolio. When you start to tie these things together, I think that it all shows, again, what type of person are you and what is the type of life that you want to live.
Love it. You say live your life as a documentary. What does that mean?
You're doing it. You said you want to do epic stuff, right? You want to go and challenge yourself. You don't want London Real to look like next year what it looks like today. If somebody was to follow you around with the camera and you sat on your couch all day, that wouldn't be a very interesting documentary. right? If it's a way better documentary to say, look at this guy, he's been doing this amazing podcast for 13 years. He's got followers all around the world. He's going to run for mayor. Here's the struggle. He's starting out. No one knows who he is. He's going to enter into politics for the first time. He's got to create his policies. He's got to go onto the street. He's got to be able to campaign. He's got, like, you can just tell the story already. It is much more of an interesting documentary. And then you look at it in hindsight and you say, man, that was fun. Whether I win or not, I enjoyed it. I lived life. I had this great experience. Is my version of an extraordinary life. And so live your life like a documentary is kind of this reminder. If you're living a boring existence, just sitting on your couch, eating bad food, watching Netflix, again, doing it every once in a while is great. Doing it every day, it's probably not really going to create that extraordinary life. And so just pretend that that camera is following you and go out there and live your life. You'll probably end up doing a lot of stuff you wouldn't do otherwise.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.